Let's give a hearty welcome as I present to you Mr. Dr. D. Ivan Young.
Did I get the mic right? Cool. You know, you are never anywhere by accident. I want to tell you, Rico, this is just for me to you, nobody's listening, right? God had you do something really amazing today. You got a group of amazing people who were predestined to be here. The course of time and obstacles and all of this travail brought them here to get these little tidbits and segments of information that they needed to have in order to take the next step in their lives. The reason that you are sitting in this room right now has nothing to do with a judgment or a decision you made. It has nothing at all to do with the fact that you were just on your game. It has everything to do with the greater part of yourself, the part of yourself that is eternal, bringing you forth to this very moment, for this very purpose, for this very instant called right when? Now. Eckhart Tolle wrote a book, and it's called The Power of Now. There's a statement that says, yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, right now is a gift. That's why we call this very moment the present. And there's nothing more true about that. The fact that you are here is because something inside you said, you know what, I'm about to take another step, but I just don't know where to put my foot. The reason that you're here right now is because something about you told you that there's just something I don't know. I need to be part of this. Some of you thought you actually came to be a speaker, when in fact you came to be educated and didn't even know it. Some of you thought that someone drugged you out of your space and out of your routine for Saturday, and you were just going to be here because you had to accompany a friend because somebody else had to come be here, so you got stuck with having to be here too. Some of you felt that I would come and just do this thing because who knows, I might get a chance to meet a hookup because I need Robert Reed to come speak at my next event. Some of you thought, I'm just being honest, some of you thought that, well, it's just I might meet her or him here. But the truth is, you are a physical being that is having a terrestrial experience, but you are not terrestrial. If anything, you are very ethereal. I've heard some very eloquent referencing today about the Bible. Here's one of the things that I think people don't like to hear when you talk about the Bible. Jesus said, you will do works that you see me do, and even greater works. Can anybody agree with that? Because you're not going to agree with what I'm about to say right after. You are equal to God in the sense that if God is in you, the part can be no less than the whole from which it came. In other words, what you say, what you declare will be. The universe must submit to that. Now here's where the stuff comes wrong. And I'm going to use some scriptorial quotes because I know I got some people on the seat going, oh Lord, where is he going with this? The first thing is, God's word cannot return what? Void. Right. Second thing is, if God says a thing and declares it, is he faithful to his word? Yes or no? Yes. Is what's in you greater than what's external to you? Yes. Okay. So we all agree on that, right? So if I tell you that the beginning of manifestation, everything that you're about to do has already been done, because in the Lord's Prayer, I love this. It says, thy will be done. Will be is what tense? Future tense. Right? Will be. Future tense. As it is done, I am. What is? Present tense. So in heaven, it was already declared what was going to happen for you before it ever happened for you here. That's some good stuff, isn't it? Now, I just did a TED Talk. Typically, very seldom you see someone ask an African-American man to do a TED Talk, especially when I combine personality type and the laws of attraction, which is nothing but what the Bible is. It's filled with the laws of attraction. As a matter of fact, they killed Jesus for teaching these laws to people that they didn't feel like should be aware of such understanding. In the crucifixion, In other words, the overcoming of the impossible, which was death, was evidence that the laws of attraction are true and real. I have client after client in my office, ranging from rabbis to clergy, to even some of my mentors. One of them is a guy you probably heard of named Jakes that has a church up in Dallas. And when I talk about these things, let's just say less educated folk get very uncomfortable. Because when you tell someone, you know what? God has given you the ability to manifest anything that you can envision. Most people just fall out in disbelief of that. But I want to tell you something. Every last one of these women on the front row is evidence that whatever they believed and whatever God told them they could do, what have you all done? You did. And then when you stop and think, what are the odds of being in a room where you have people in this room that manifested unlimited things with just a little something to work with? You know, when people told me, they said, and I'm going to confess to you. Can I tell you the truth? Okay, I'm going to tell you anyway whether you want to hear it or not. But the truth is, people ask me all the time, they say, well, Dr. Young, how did you get on CNN? Dr. Young, how did you get on TV One? Dr. Young, how did you write a best-selling book? Let me tell you something. When I wrote my first book, I was writing it on napkins, and I had to pull together envelopes, napkins, and receipts, and I had written that book on everything but a tablet, right? And then when I put the thing together, I didn't even intend for it to sell. The first book sold a few million copies. So then the next book I wrote it because I was, what was I going through? I dated a crazy chick. And then, yeah, tell the truth. And so when I'm writing this book, I didn't expect it to do anything. I'm driving, doing an interview in Austin, Texas. I get a phone call that said, hi, this is Derek Langham with the Associated Press. They asked me, have you ever heard of the show The Bachelor? I lied. Yes. And then, well, I'm in church, I can't say that I really watched that. But the truth is, the next day, my publicist called me. He said, have you looked at the news? And I said, well, no. Why? He said, you are in 17,000 newspapers in 26 languages because I offered my opinion about why Jake broke up with Vienna. I don't know who Jake is or Vienna. But I do know that God will do more by accident than you can do on purpose. Now, here's the truth of it. You have to be in sync, because God said, I will supply all, let me hear you say all of your needs according to my what? Purpose for your life. You know the reason why some of y'all aren't being successful? It's because you're doing it for your purpose and not his. Second thing is, many of you are failing right now because you are thinking too small. I'm going to say it again. The reason you're not being successful is you're not thinking big enough. You are trying to do mediocre things. Mediocrity is the best of the worst and the worst of the best. You heard me. The reason you're not succeeding is because you are limiting God's ability because you're trying to do things in your strength. Now, do you want to correct that, yes or no? Yes. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. I'm going to give you some techniques. This is part teaching, part speaking. You've had some preaching. You've had some testimony. You've had some guidance, but I'm going to give you some tools. Is that okay? You know, you can clean your teeth with a hammer, but you won't be comfortable, right? Here's the truth. The first thing that I want you to learn to do is you have two ways of praying. P-R-A-Y, which is typically the way you do it. You know, God bless me with a ham sandwich and a Cadillac and whatever, husband. And then there's the way God wants you to do it is, how did he say? Pray how? What? Unceasingly, right? So he did not mean walk around, that's not what he meant. What he meant was constantly be on the seek for what I have deposited in you. P-R-E-Y. Pray, stalk, go after, be at my gate diligently, daily, awaiting me. It says, from our fruit. If you wonder where this is coming from, it's the 8th proverb. Get some wisdom, and on all you're getting, you must get a what? Understanding, right? And the other thing it says, as a man thinketh, so is what? So is he. Now, here's where we go with this. First, I want you to get quiet. The reason why some of you can't hear from God is you're talking too much and you're not listening to him. So to really effectively pray, shut your mouth and be quiet and ask God to talk to you. Okay, you can quote all scriptures you want. Some of you are seeking Boaz and you keep getting sorry ass and broke ass and whatever. But here's the truth. If you just be quiet and allow God to speak to you, you will get more of a download than you can ever upload from what you're requesting. Okay, number one. Here's number two. If you really want to hear God, you must do this consistently. You must do it diligently and daily. I would suggest you keep a pen by the bed or in your car, because God will speak to you when he's ready, not when you're ready. You feel me? Now, as you get ready to understand this about God, he is going to give you a vision, but you may not be able to see it. In other words, don't go by what you can see, because God calls those things that are what? Not as what? Though they are, right? I'm staying with you. I know some of you church folks pastored and got you pimped out, but I'm going to set you free from that. The reality of dealing with God gets real simple. If an omniscient, omnipotent being who could create the heavens and the earth, and he could actually create the depth which is cast upon the perception of the abyss, that's a pretty deep cat to me. So when you talk to God, you've got two great access points. I'm going to give you an example. To be absent in the body, I know you're used to hearing that at a funeral. Please, next time a pastor does it, just shake your head and give him $1. You'll stop. But the truth is, to be absent in the body is to be present with God. Really means this. It means shut your mouth. Stop trying to be religious and try to become one with your Creator. And if you let and shut the body down, now the spirit can actually communicate with God on your behalf. You feel it? Be quiet, and you got these two times that you do this very well. Just prior to going to bed, just prior to getting up. You know that state where you wake up and you want to hit the snooze button before you even start setting the alarm off? Right then, envision today. You heard this phrase again. What's more powerful, I will or I am? Okay, I should or I am. I could or I am. I am. So before you even get out of bed to say, today I am going to be in step with my purpose. Today I am going to be aware of all good things that are coming to me. Today I am going to love others as they have loved me. Today I am going to be that which I've created myself to be, because you were co-created with God. That's why when it says we created you in God's image, that was you before you ever got to this planet, in agreement with God with why you were coming here. Okay? That's the we. When they say anytime two or more touch and agree and ask anything in my name, you don't need that to be Brother Cantaloupe and Sister Watermelon. That needs to be you and your divine spirit and the Holy Spirit. And when those two are in agreement, anything you ask God for, you will get. All right? Now here's the next step. Before you go to bed, you are creating what's happening the next day. Now I'm going to give you a little neuroscience. In 17 seconds, the pituitary gland will release hormones and neurotransmitters according to whatever it is that your frontal lobe or your neocortex has come up with to deal with. So if the limbic system has kicked in and you are mad and you want to fight or you want to run, cortisol, serene, all of these things that you don't need too much of in your body, they do serve a purpose. Now let me give you an example. Cortisol, if it gets in, hits the heart with norepinephrine, it causes what we call tachycardia, a rapid heartbeat, right? And then when it hits the kidneys, it causes the adrenal medulla to contract, and then all of the water leaves your kidney, making your blood pressure go up. Come on, go up, right? And then it also causes the digestive tract to kick in and produce acid, because if you got to fight, if you got to run, can you have a full stomach? No. So all of these digestive acids start getting produced, and then the pancreas and the gallbladder start secreting all these things from bile to insulin to make sure that you are metabolizing what's in your bloodstream. And that causes you to have a little bit more fructose and sucrose going up. Well, let me give you all this. If in 17 seconds of you tripping, of you just going, turning up for no reason, you got all this extra acid, what happens when you've been upset and pissed off for half a day? What happens when it's gone on for about 2 weeks? Have you ever heard of GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disorder? Have you ever heard of an ulcer? Have you ever heard of kidney disease and kidney stones? Have you ever heard of an aneurysm and a migraine? Well, I'm here to tell you, you could shut that down, because when the 17 seconds starts that you tripping, you could take the next 17 seconds to stop. So that's the scientific side of something that's very spiritual. Again, to be absent in the body is to be present with God. That does not mean you need to be laying here in repose, looking like you sleep for that to happen. What that does mean is if you can say, you know what, the battle is not mine, it's the Lord's. So why let people take you out of being focused? If right at this time you say, Rico, you know what, God, this 360 summit, show me what you see. See, man measures things in minutes, God measures things in moments. So in this minute, this room is not full, but in the season in which this has been declared to happen, there's standing room only. See, when you see things the way God sees them, you won't do things the way that you do them. Are you feeling it? Now, here's the rule before we talk about this sleep thing. If I am dealing with the past, am I taking care of the present? Yes or no? No. If I'm thinking and worried about the future, am I handling things in the present? Yes or no? No. So the only way that I can really maximize the next moment is to control which moment? This moment. And there's power in when, right now. Are you still with me? So if you want to control all outcomes, always be present in what? Now. Because yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery. Today, this very moment is a gift. That's why we call it the what? Present. Still with me? Before you go to bed, sit down and say, God, show me what it is that you desire that I have for tomorrow. Because did you know this? I'm going to tell you something. Have you ever been so stupid that you go to sleep with the TV on, or is it just me? And then you end up dreaming about Sherwin-Williams, the backstretch machine, and how to invest money in real estate. Well, the truth is you are letting that be the last thing that fed you before you went into this divine zone. And I told you there's only two ways you go to it. You go to sleep. Isn't it funny? We are programmed to sleep 1/3 of our life away. You know why? Because when we sleep, we conceive. When we sleep, we rejuvenate, reanimate. You know the best medicine for anyone is to get some what? Rest, right? That's why Jesus said, you know what? Just rest, be still, peace, be still, peace, I am still. So if you want to really start getting a manifestation, start creating your day for tomorrow the night before. Now, here's another thing that you've heard. Take no thought for tomorrow, for by taking thought can a man add a cubit to his height. Have you heard that before? What that basically is saying, stop tripping Stop worrying about what hasn't happened yet, because I've already given whatever's been taken from you. Oh, this is for somebody in here. Somebody in here has lost a lot. And I don't know if it's necessarily money. It may be prestige or position or people. But God left you enough to work with. You don't need to go find people and start trying to sell them on your ideas, because if God gave you the vision, He will also supply the provision. I hope you get that. But remember, as you go to bed tonight, stop and just say, God, you know what? I've been carrying around a whole lot of stuff that ain't even mine. I want to put this down, because you told me that your burden is what? Huh? Your yoke is what? Burden is light and your yoke is easy. So why am I shackling all these things to me that really aren't my problem? And as a matter of fact, I had a young man in my office the other day, and he has brachial palsy, which means his arm is kind of like this. And he cussed out his mother and cussed out his father, saying, this is your fault. And, you know, the parents are clients of mine, so in my private practice, I see people. And I told him, I said, come here, sit your butt down. I said, I got something to tell you. I said, are you mad about your arm? And he said, well, yeah. I said, well, you need to blame God for that. He looked at me. And I said, I'm serious. I said, see, sometimes God gives someone the gift of basketball. Other people, He gives the gift of football. Other people, the gift of music. I said, but He gave you this arm. And I said, now, here's where you're messing this up. I said, you don't understand the purpose of this arm. But this arm is drawing attention to you. And it's also giving you an investment, because tall trees have what? Deep roots. And I said, what this arm has done is it's let you be persecuted as a child. So when you talk to those who have been persecuted, you can relate to them. I said, you see, this arm has made you have to work a little harder than everybody else, just do what everybody else does. So when you talk to those who can't do what you do or what others do as easily as they do it, you can understand. I said, this arm causes people to notice your imperfections right up front, because some people, you can't see their imperfections, because you know this, a wise man can see more from the bottom of a pit than a fool can see from the top of a mountain, right? So what starts happening is the kid starts listening, and I said, now let me tell you something. God trusted you with the suffering. You see this little fine woman in the green? Her, Cheryl, yeah, the one with the butt, the legs, her, yeah. You weren't there when she had to bury her brother last year, and it's just two of them. See, you weren't there. So everything that looks good, and where you think somebody didn't have a challenge, you don't know the glory that's behind the story. So I told this young man, I said, now, your goal has been to be angry and blasphemous and disrespectful of people because you're mad at a gift that God gave you called this arm. I said, here's your problem. You're so busy focusing on what you want people to notice that what you need to be focusing on is what you can do to make people never forget meeting you. See, when your focus shifts to you getting people to pay attention to how you see things instead of how things need to be seen because you're present. See, when you want the things you look at to change, you must change the way you look at things. When you want the things you look at to change, you must change the way that you look at things. Now, the people that are in your life and the ones that are getting on your last nerve, yes, them, they are there as organic, living, moving mirrors for you to see what's being reflected in your character that you need to work on. So for some of you who want to go and cuss somebody out and slap them upside their head tomorrow at work, that person has been sent to you for you to evolve, because it says when the enemy, and this is the most, it makes me mad when I hear a preacher misquote this. When the enemy comes in like a raging flood, God will what? Raise up a standard. They put the comma, they leave the comma out. Rico, they leave the comma out. See, the comma is supposed to be here. When the enemy comes in, comma. Like a raging flood, God will raise up a standard. Isn't it funny where if you just pause at a certain place, you will perceive something totally different, right? So when the enemy comes in, like a raging flood, God will raise up a standard. Can you stop a raging flood? So can you stop what God is putting you then? Because what God is blessed cannot be what? Cannot be cursed. If God be for you, who can be what? Against you? Does any of that sound familiar to you? And all you're getting, get a good understanding. It says, bring into captivity every wild and disobedient and illusory thought, and bring it into the subjective purpose of Christ, right? Let me give you some new definitions. What if sin means doing everything against that which goes against your highest of good? What if you take the condemnation off the word and look at it like a warning that, you know what, you're about to miss your blessing? That's what sin really is missing your blessing. When you are not operating in the manner in which you were created to operate, that means that you're trying to clean your teeth with a hammer. You're going to get suffering, you're going to get pain. You may get what appears to be the same result, but it won't be the same outcome. Does that make sense to you? Then here's the last part of this. How many of you are tired of being tired? How many of you really want to get what God has for you? Well, here's one thing you can do. First, you can let go of that which you've given yourself. Stop settling for less than what you're capable of doing. Stop being less than what you're capable of doing. The second thing is, your blessing isn't housed in another person. It may be, and a lot of you, this is for somebody. You are confusing witnesses with supporters. Some people are not meant to help you, they're meant to be a witness to what's going on with you. So while you are mad at them, they were never meant to help you to begin with. No matter what promise they made you or what promise you asked of them, they are just a witness. Some of you are confusing constituents with comrades. And some of you are confusing comrades with colleagues. You know what I'm saying? Because see, you and I can be constituents. Don't mean I like you. We just hate the same thing. And see, some of us can be comrades just because we're in the same place at the same time. Stop calling everybody your friend. These people are friendly, baby. They are not your friends. What a friend you have in Jesus, right? So the last part of this conversation is, if you want what God has for you, you have to start looking where it was deposited, and that's within yourself. You don't need, and I'm not going to tell you don't do a business plan. You need to do a feasibility study, because some of your ideas are about as stupid as I don't know what. But that's how you get to the good idea, is going through all the bad ones. Some of you are quitting, and here's the prize right here. And you get right here. That's why this race goes to one that endures. And if you just stop trying to do it in your strength, you could rest and renew your strength and get up and be like an eagle and fly straight to what God has for you. But you keep trying to do this your way. God's ways are not your ways. Just like the heavens are above the earth, his ways to your ways and his thoughts to your thoughts. And lastly, stop limiting God. Just because you can't do it does not mean it cannot be done. And here is the very last thing I'm going to tell you, and I need you to hear it. Just because you can't see it does not mean it's not there. The reason why you cannot perceive the unperceivable is because you are so busy looking through your eyes and not asking God to show you his vision. Be one with that which you were created to be. That which you seek is equally seeking you, but you will never find it until you stop doing what you've already done. Because if you keep doing what you've already done, you're going to keep getting what you've already got. Stop doing it your way and try it God's way. His plan is already blessed. Have a great day.